Hi guys, it's me again today with the long-awaited Adamancipator review and combo showcase. So I'm going to show you the deck card by card, why people is playing these choices as a standard, then I'm going to explain you the combos, and I'm finally going to give you my closing thoughts on the deck. So first up, the card by card. One last thing before going to the card by card. If you want to jump straight into the combos, I'm going to leave time mark in the description of the video so you can jump straight into it, right? So first up, the Corbett card. The first thing we notice is 2-block dragon. Like at the beginning of the format, people was playing only one. Why so? Because the standard combo leads you to your block dragon through your union carrier. So people saw like no need to play more than one. However, as people started to play test the deck more and more, they realized that block dragon is not a bad draw. Like it's a good card to draw. So if you have it in your hand, it makes your hands better. So at that point, people were like, okay, maybe playing more than one isn't terrible, and also has the added benefit that it's not affected by Call by the Grave or DD Crow, because if you get hit with one of those and you don't have the backup copy, the deck is going to suffer a lot for it. So that's why people started playing two. Many people play 3, but I think that playing the Foolish Burial instead of the third copy is much better. But it's super fine if you want to play 3 or even 4 copies. So then Gigantes. Gigantes is usually only played at 1 because it's the first thing you're going to search with your Block Dragon to extend your combo further. Like, you don't want to open with it. I mean, it's not bad if you open it, but it's not stellar because we don't have like Earth Rock extenders for the deck to function, so he loses value. Once we get to Battles of Legend and Rise of the Duelists, we are going to have Earth Rock extenders, but not now. So at this point we're running like Dan Ethereum and Peting Sesu. Well, Peting Sesu kinda works because she served, but we have this, so he's less consistent. So it's just fine to play the one copy. I have seen people like side decking the other copies against control decks, and I think that in those scenarios this card could be really powerful, so keep that in mind. Then koa'ki Guardian. This card's funny because at the beginning of the Secret Slayers meta, like people were playing it at 3, then they cut it entirely for the Go 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 package, and then it came back to the deck while people started cutting out the Go 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 package. Why did that happen? Is because people realize that most of the bad hands you get is because of these cards. So people were like, do I play this or do I play this? And in all honesty, koa'ki Guardian is one of the best excavations you can get with your Adamancipator turners. Like the only possible, the only better excavation is like Doki Doki, but that's, I'm going to explain you in a while why so. But koa'ki Guardian is really powerful. It's basically going to protect you against Nibiru or a hand trap, or it's going to give you another free extra interruption. That's super fantastic. So people reverted back to it. I would totally advise you to play the 3 copies. Then we have the extenders, the generic level 4 extenders. Why? Because this deck can start all of their combos with 2 level 4 monsters. Like you are going to consolidate 2 level 4 monsters into Gallant Granite, then you are going to add Adamancipator Researcher to your hand, you are going to special summon her, you are going to excavate 5. It's very likely that you are going to get 1, like the chance to not get a monster is like 1 in 10. So most of the time you're going to excavate something, and then you're basically going to consolidate into 5 racks and do the combo that I'm gonna show you. So that's a bit of the reason why people started playing this. People play this because they don't need the normal summon and can be a special summon pretty much all of the time. Like the only one is Peting Sesu, but Peting Sesu is Earth, so that's good for Block Dragon and good for Gigantes. She requires an empty field, or basically just playing on turn 1 for you to not have a graveyard, but it's fine. She serves her role well. Then, if you look closely, we have 6 slots dedicated for this. This means that 56% of the time you are going to open with one of these. And then you have to account for the researcher, and the Doki, and then you start to see that you have an actual incredibly consistent deck. So an actually consistent deck. So that's really important for competitive. Like many people play like 3 of one of these and 3 of the other, but I have seen like people playing 2, 2, and 2. Like the difference is not going to be big. Like the probability to draw 2 copies of a card to run 3 of is like 5-6%. So it's basically a non-issue. So if you think that Brigandine is better than Dynatherium, you can totally play like 3 Brigandine and cut copies of one of these that you think it's not good. The important part is that you play at least 6. You can play more, like people usually play Unexpected Die and Beta, the Magnet Warrior. You can play more, just don't go below 6. Then we have the 9 Adamancipator Turners, nothing to say here, they are really standard. We have Olion, which is for the combo, super standard. Then we have Buster Dragon, Destruction Sword. This is because in the hands you can get to the Block Dragon before the Union Carrier. You are going to want to have something extra for the Carrier's effect. So what you're going to do is equip this guy to the Boris Savage Dragon, and you are going to be protected as well. So from that ruler no more. So that's good, that's important, that's why people play it. You can choose not to play it, but I wouldn't recommend it. But it's fine if you don't want to play it. Then we are going to go with the Go 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 engine in Dodo Dwarf. People is starting to cut on these cards because, like I've told you, they cause most of the bad hands, as they basically add nothing. I basically add nothing, and you can even see them as kind of win more. So people started cutting on them, and it's fine. I like them at this ratio because if I see them, if I excavate them, that's super fine. But if I don't, I'm not gonna sweat. I'm not gonna care. The deck still works perfectly fine without them. So, and Doki Doki. Like Doki Doki is a bad starter. You don't want to start with this card. Like the card sucks, to be completely honest, as a starter. However, as a conditional extender, the card is amazing, because when you excavate Doki Doki with this or the Synchro, with one of these guys or the Synchro, what happens is that you have 2 more monsters to keep spamming the field for free. That means that if they stop, let's say your Haki 5 racks, you still have a second play with Doki. That's really good and part of what helps this deck to play around hand traps. It's a bad starter, and an amazing extender. I wouldn't cut it, and I wouldn't call this card necessary. But to be completely honest, I wouldn't cut it. It's so powerful. And then we have the rest of the slots, which are basically just more conditional extenders, which is Adamancipator Signs. This card's stupid. Like if you revive one of these guys, or the Reptite, remember that this thing can revive any rock. It cannot revive this guy, sorry, but it can revive this guy or these guys. So, but if you revive one of these guys, what happens here is that you can get 2 monsters for the price of 1, because then after reviving the monster, it allows you to stack 1 rock monster from your deck to the top of your deck. So you are going to have a guaranteed second summon. So it's basically like Monster Reborning two guys. And not only that, it's not even once per turn, so you can play 2 per turn, which is really rare now. Like most cards now, even if they are not that good, have a once per turn clause. But I don't know, Konami sometimes does this does unthinkable things, and sometimes they do it, man. I already explained the Fush Burial and the Monster Reborn. So I'm going to explain you the last 6 cards. The last 6 cards are really not standard, but the most common card people play in Adamancipators is 3 Dark Ruler No More. Why? Because Adamancipator is really die roll dependent against other combo decks, including the mirror match. Why? Because it cannot play an big enough volume of hand traps to stop the opponent's play going second consistently. This is the main reason as of why I don't think this is the best deck in format, because depends a lot on the die roll in certain matchups, and I don't like that. Like I don't like the sensation that I'm going to lose just because I lose the die roll. Like that's not good. On the other hand, Synchro Edlich has a big probability, like 60% chance to open at least 2 hand traps. And hey, I'm gonna take the 60% over basically nothing. Like you have the 36% to see this card in your opponent's hand. So, and I don't even count Lightning Storm because I don't think it is that good. It's even that good. It's so easy to play around stuff with Lightning Storm with your cards by putting them in defense mode, like Boris Savage in defense mode. It's even funnier because Boris Savage has 25 defense points, so the Golden Boy cannot run over it, Block Dragon cannot run over it, so there's no reason to not put Boris Savage in defense mode. That card, I think it's fairly mediocre versus combo decks, to be completely honest. Then the extra deck is completely standard. Other than maybe Cerberus and Phoenix, they are basically options for IP. And if you don't like these 6 cards, here are other options. But the main problem with this deck is that it's 34 combo pieces and it's not that good versus other combo decks going second. Going first is super good, but going second is an issue. So I'm gonna showcase the combos quickly because this video is getting a bit long. This is a basic Adamancipator combo. One thing to note is that Adamancipators have an end field already in mind. They usually end on that field, but they don't have a set way to achieve it, because it's going to depend a lot on what cards you excavate from the top. So, but usually you can get there with just the toner and the not toner. It's very rare that you need an extra card from your hand to do so. So then we go for Link Cross here, then the Marsher, Link Olion token, no problem, super standard, and then we go for Herald, we go for Rhaptide, we go for Carrier, we excavate, and then we just keep going. This deck is sometimes way too good. Like I told you, like look at here, Doki Doki. I already had enough combo pieces, or enough pieces to complete my combo. Then I got this Doki Doki out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. Then I got Ragite. Remember that Block Dragon is sent from the field, even if it's from the spell and trap zone. So you're going to add, the first thing you're going to want to add is usually Gigantes, and then you don't care about the rest. These are basically the most relevant, but it's going to depend if you haven't used them on the turn. So we now go Doki, get more free stuff, and this is important. We need to actually grab the Link Cross, because if we grab the 5 racks, we are not going to have a water monster for Dragite. And then we basically just IP to link in our opponent's turn for either Unicorn, Phoenix, or Nightmare Cerberus, or even Apollo. One thing I don't like is, just look at this, I only have 5 extra deck cards. If somehow my opponent breaks this board, even if I have enough cards to summon on my next turn, I won't be able to come back unless I can win a game with a Nightmare Unicorn or an Abyss Dueler or something. So it's something to consider. Like Blood Dragon is going to come back from the grave next turn and give me more resources, but what good those resources are if I basically just have these options? It's one thing I don't like about this deck too much. So I just keep playing for the flex. Let's just check the second replay, which is basically again the same combo, but with other cards. Like here I started it with a toner and a non-toner, right? So again we excavate, 80 to 90% chance to reveal something from the top of the deck. We hit Doki, and then 5 racks. Then we just start doing the same exact thing as we did before. Marsher, Olion token. And then Herald, Carrier, to Doki. I didn't even use Doki's effect. So, and I did it just so you could see that it can be basically a rock monster. So we just keep flexing. Well, not necessarily flexing because I'm completing the plays, but this is what I told you about the Go-Go-Go-Gos. If I hit them and get a free card, that's amazing. But if I don't sweat about it. So we keep flexing, we keep playing, and then the same exact field, right? There's no secret about this. I'm gonna show you one bonus replay which involves the new cards in Battles of Legend and Rise of the Duelist. So here I added the koa'ki core because it has a great card in the set. This card is amazing. Like if a rock monster is sent from your field to the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can add one koa'ki monster or a card that has koa'ki core from your deck to your hand, which makes it easier. Because keep in mind that unlike Dynetherium or Brigandine, if you excavate this from the top, you're going to summon it. So you are increasing the consistency of your deck on two fronts. You are playing now 9 extenders. I'm gonna show you the other 3 now in a while. And then not only that, you are increasing the odds of your excavations even further. So that's really important. But again, it's just the same basic combo. Nothing is going to change other than the consistency is going to be greatly bolstered by these new cards. Again, if the golem summons happen, that's cool, but if they don't, I don't care. So just look at how many ways we have to play. Like, this is unreal, to be completely honest. I like this deck a lot, but I feel that 10 extra deck cards for a simple combo, it's way too much. Even if the combo is really powerful, it's really good, I feel it's kind of too much because people is not adapting correctly to the meta. For example, let's say hypothetically that my opponent is playing like Rise Fear mode or Lava Golem, he would put me in serious dilemmas because, yeah, look at this, I'm going to lose my IP and my Warlord Savage and my Dragite. Then what do? I have the 5 cards I already showed you to finish the game up. Like, it doesn't make sense. So now the final and the closing thoughts. First up, the pros. This deck is really consistent. Like, even if it relies a bit on luck and the combos are not 100% guaranteed, you can still land them pretty consistently even if the roads or the ways to get to them change a bit. So that's really important. Another thing that is very good for this deck is that it's adaptable. If they somehow manage like Vibrax or the Lion or Carrier or Block Dragon, the deck can still function as a more synchro heavy deck because Dragite is still an amazing board clearer and the engine is still pretty good, so it's very adaptable, unlike something like Edlich. Like if Edlich loses the combo component of the deck, it's going to revert to more control versions, and control versions are usually not very good against this type of decks with high ceilings, so that's going to be like a big blow to Edlich, why this deck keeps going like nothing. Another pro is that this deck is going to get support, and on the short term it's going to get 3 Rhodas, 3 Extenders, and 3 more Extenders. This card is basically a fish burial for rocks, and then you can mill this thing. If this thing is sent from the deck to the graveyard, it can special summon itself. It's a rock, it's an earth rock. And then we have the Sentry Soldier of Stone as well to habilitate Beast Axes. So it's super fine, like the deck is completely good now, and it will only get better. It's so adaptable. Now the cons. The cons is, and the reason as of why I told you I don't think this is the best deck in format, again, is because this deck is basically 40 combo pieces. Yeah, it's technically just 34. Well, in the other version, in the B2 version, like it's 40 combo pieces. So why is this important? Because if you lose the die roll against some other combo decks, you have a really good chance to lose that game. And losing because you lost the die roll is never good. Unlike Synchro Edlich, which plays enough hand traps to be able to at least use the hands if it goes second. Another con is exactly that. Even if the deck is so consistent, the combos are still not guaranteed. Granted, the times you don't land your combo are going to be few, but the possibility of missing that crucial extra rock monster from the top is still there, so I don't feel completely comfortable with this. And the third con is that this deck, it's complex, because it's going to vary its combo game after game. Like, The end goal is always going to be the same field, but the way to get to such field is going to be different from game to game. This is a big disadvantage because you need to be concentrated like every game and need to be aware how you're going to perform your combos every time. And it's also a good thing, which I forgot to mention, because this deck is so changing. Your opponent needs to have a deep comprehension of it, or he's not going to be able to use his hands properly, his hand traps properly, sorry. So that means that if they don't know how to read the deck and read the choke points, they can easily throw a hand trap way before on stuff they shouldn't and be punished for it. So that's that. That's pretty much it. I don't think this is the best decking format, but I think it's really good. And if combo mirrors, including the Adamancipator mirrors, were not a thing, this deck would definitely be better than Synchro Edge. So see you later.